For those of you who saw my initial reaction to John Wick Chapter 4, you may have noticed that I use a certain phrase on several occasions throughout that minute-long discussion.
It's a very, very enjoyable movie.
And while I do apologize for my very limited vocabulary at 2 o'clock in the morning, I also don't really feel all that bad about it because this movie was very, very good. You got yourself a gun. John Wick Chapter 4 is easily the most John Wick that a John Wick movie has ever been. It takes everything that you like from the previous installments and just jumps it up to the next level. Everything in this film is just done so impressively to the point where there's no downtime in the film. There's no moment that I didn't feel myself invested in whatever they were showing. And that is in large part due to the fact that the visuals were amazing. The action was amazing. The story was the most detailed and interesting that we've seen out of the four. It is just so well put together that it's just fun throughout the entire thing. And I absolutely loved it from beginning to the end. Now, of course, I want to talk about a lot of things in this film, but what I want to talk about first is the characters of this movie. Now, the John Wick films have always had a variety of interesting characters on top of John Wick himself that have helped to take these movies to the next level, have caused interesting fights to occur, and have led to some interesting elements in this kind of unique assassin world that we get. However, none of those previous films have really established any characters quite on the level as what we get in this film. All of the characters from John Wick's 1 through 3, aside from your usual ones like Winston and Karen and all those guys, they make an appearance in this film as well. They're wonderful. I loved every time that they were on screen. But none of the other interesting assassin characters that show up in those films were somebody that I wanted to see more of. They were cool characters that worked for the film, but they didn't really steal the film. And while John Wick is definitely the standout of this movie, and Keanu Reeves plays him better here than he's ever played him before, the other characters that get introduced in this one, particularly Kane and Nobody and these other assassins that are going after him and some of the other characters that he encounters throughout, are so well done that when you have those interactions between John and them, you almost don't want either of them to lose. In all the other films, it's like I wanted John to win, I was excited for John to win, and in these films, yeah, I still wanted John to win. I'm voting for him all the way, but I also really like Kane, and I don't want to see Kane fail. I don't want to see things happen to Kane. I don't want to see things happen with Nobody. And so there's a lot of great elements to these new characters, and they make the movie very, very entertaining. And I loved it from beginning to end, mainly because these characters kept it rolling, and that was just so well done. While these characters are very interesting, John Wick is still the standout of this movie. And what's amazing about it is the fact that Keanu Reeves barely says anything in this movie. And when he does say things, it's very simple lines that are just said so well like these.
Not really. Yeah.
And through this limited amount of dialogue and this action that he puts us through.
Yeah. And so it begins. Yeah.
Because this movie is all about the action, and it's so stylish and well choreographed that you could sit here watching it all day long and I would never get bored. And that is really one of the standouts of this movie, is that despite being 3 hours long and despite having action taking up the majority of those 3 hours, every single encounter felt different. Every single encounter offered something new that not only have we not seen in this film so far, but we just haven't seen it in any of this franchise so far. Yes, there are some similar elements. You have some things that you always got to have in a John Wick movie. Car chases, dogs, things like that. They're better than they've ever been in this particular film. And I'll tell you what is my favorite thing about this particular John Wick movie. So often when we get good action films, the action will happen, it'll be amazing, and then it'll end. It just kind of will last a few minutes and then it's over. This movie doesn't do that. The action just keeps going. And when it does finally stop, it stops for a moment to give us enough information to let us know where things are going next so that we can go and get more action that then just keeps going. And I just love that about this film is you love an action scene and you're watching it and you're like, please don't end soon. Please keep going. Please give me more. And they do. They just give you more. And I loved it. It is so well done. It's hard to say without you guys watching it. I hope you have seen it. If you have, let us know in the comments what you thought of the action because I thought it was spectacular. Now we come to something else that I really like about this movie, and it's actually something that I like about both this character and the franchise in and of itself, and that is John Wick's ability to be a man of focus and persistence.
John is a man of focus, commitment, sheer will.
One of the things that I love to look for in films when I watch them is the messages that they are able to deliver. What kind of things are they trying to give to the audience that we can then maybe take to our own lives? And one of the things that you get in this film is John's commitment. I mean, he's more committed and driven in this film than he has been in any other movies. And you get to see his focus, his persistence driven through this film, and it is like an axe that just separates everything that it touches. I think that's a good message. I think understanding that it is commitment, that it's drive, it's persistence that gets people to where they want to go, and it's the ability to never give up. Such a great story, something that really needs to be taught in a lot of different ways, and John Wick nails it. I loved that. Now, I always talk about the cleanliness. Not a family film. Obviously, I think most of you were probably expecting that. This is a film that is not designed for younger viewers. It is very violent. It has quite a bit of swearing, and it can be quite intense at times. While I don't think the action is quite as bad or gory as some of the other John Wick films have had at parts, it's still just got so much of it that there are going to be those moments, and there definitely were some parts that even made me kind of cringe. So, great action, but not something that you want to take any young viewers to. Other than that, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this movie. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an A. But guys, those are my thoughts on John Wick Chapter 4. Have you had the opportunity to see it? If so, let us know in the comments what you thought. And as always, if you liked what you saw here, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.